You know, we see them every single day, but we almost never really think about them. Shadows. But what if I told you that a simple shadow holds this profound puzzle about movement, stillness, and divine power? Today, we're going to unpack a fascinating verse from the Quran that challenges us to look a whole lot closer. So it all kicks off with this verse from Surah Al-Furqan, and it asks us this really simple question: have you not considered how he extends the shadow? Now, at first glance, you might think, okay, simple enough, but what does it really mean to extend a shadow? As we're about to see, that simple phrase unlocks this deep complexity hidden in our daily lives. And this is where the real puzzle starts to emerge. The verses describe a shadow that's in motion, but that could also be made completely still. It sounds like a total paradox, right? A contradiction. How on earth can something be moving and perfectly stationary at the exact same time? Well, let's unpack that together. All right, so let's dive right into this puzzle. The way this is presented, it's not like a science textbook problem. It's framed as a divine sign, something laid out for us to really think about. The verse kind of breaks it down into 4 incredible steps. First, the shadow is extended. It's given its length. Then, this fascinating what if is introduced. It could be made still. Then we get the key to its movement. The sun is made its guide. And finally, the shadow is seized or withdrawn with complete ease. So let's break down what each of these actions really mean. Okay, to really get a handle on this, let's use a super simple example from today, something we can all picture in our minds right now. Just picture a car driving down the road on a bright, sunny day. Simple enough, right? As the car moves, its shadow just moves right along with it. That's the moving shadow we all know and see. So here's a question for you. If the car stops, the shadow stops too, right? Seems pretty obvious, but is it really that simple? This is where what we think we see gets put to the test. Well, here's the first little mind bender. Nope. Even when that car is parked, perfectly still, its shadow is still moving. It's this really subtle, constant crawl. And why? Well, it's because the shadow isn't just tied to the car. It's following the sun. The sun is its guide, exactly like the verse says. And as the sun travels across the sky, that shadow creeps along with it. So in that sense, the shadow is never completely still. But hold on, that's only half the picture. Because what's so cool is that there's a secret hidden inside that moving shadow. There's a piece of it that is perfectly, absolutely still. A part of the shadow that, believe it or not, never moves. At all. And this is how the whole paradox gets unlocked. You've got the moving shadow on one side. That's the one we all see, the one that shifts as the car and the sun move. But then you have the still shadow. That's the little patch of darkness directly underneath the car. I mean, think about it for a second. No matter where the sun is, it can't reach that spot, right? So that piece of the shadow is always completely still. A great analogy is being a passenger in that car. The car is speeding down the highway, but you, sitting in your seat, you're perfectly still relative to the car. See? Movement and stillness happening at the same time. The shadow works exactly the same way. One part is moving with the sun, while the part right underneath is totally locked in place, completely stationary. Okay, so we figured out how a shadow can be partly still. That's pretty cool. But the verse goes even bigger. It talks about the power to make the whole thing completely still. How in the world would that even work? Right, so this part of the verse isn't talking about our day-to-day experience. This is a statement about ultimate power. It's a what if that really makes you think about who's in control of the rules of the universe, cause and effect itself. So how could you make the entire shadow still? Well, you'd have to control the source of the light, the sun itself, and there are 2 really mind-bending ways this could happen. First, the obvious one, just stop the sun in the sky. If the light source doesn't move, the shadow is locked in place. Or, and this is even crazier, you could move the sun in this perfect coordinated dance with the earth so that from where we're standing, the shadow looks like it never moves an inch. I mean, both of these ideas point to a power that doesn't just play by the rules of physics, but actually writes the rules. And that brings us to the last piece of this puzzle. So the shadow is stretched out. We understand its relationship with being still. But then the verse says God seizes it. What does seizing a shadow even mean? This idea of an easy seizure, it's such a beautiful way to describe how a shadow disappears. It's not this big, dramatic thing. It's gentle, effortless. The shadow that was right there a second ago, just poof, it vanishes. But how does that happen? It happens with things we see all the time and probably don't even think about. A cloud drifts by, and bam, the shadow's gone. The sun sets, dipping below the horizon, and all the shadows are seized. Then night comes, and they're all gone. So these totally normal, natural events are being framed here as direct but totally effortless divine actions. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that a shadow, with its movement, its hidden stillness, and the way it just disappears, is so much more than just a lack of light. It's presented as an ayah, a sign. It's like this daily reminder of a really complex, really subtle order in the universe, and it points to the ultimate power that's running the whole show. And that really leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? We just spent all this time unpacking the incredible complexity of something as simple as a shadow. It kind of proves that miracles aren't always these big, loud, flashy things. So it makes you wonder, what other amazing signs are hiding in plain sight all around us, just waiting for us to take a second and really, truly see them?